It's something that just about everyone that comes in this restaurant is going to try. It goes on every table. It's how we welcome you, and it never shows up on anybody's bill. It's a symbol of sustenance and a metaphor for sharing a meal. It's my bread and butter, and today I want to break bread with you. Bakers and bread makers that I know take their craft very seriously, and they can give you dozens of wonderful recipes for any number of breads with intricate procedures. But today we're going to keep it simple. Today I'm going to give you a basic focaccia dough recipe, and I'm going to show you a couple fun applications for it. So let's get cooking. Water, flour, salt, and yeast. These are the 4 basic ingredients you need to make bread. Anything else is merely an additive for flavor. Today, we're gonna make a rosemary and roasted garlic focaccia dough. Basically, our ingredients are going to be all-purpose flour, and we're going to use kosher salt, and we're gonna use this instant dry yeast. This is a really good product. I'm sure you can find it in any of your grocery stores. So, this is for a single loaf. We're gonna do a half a cup of flour, okay? Half a cup of warm water. It's important to use warm water so it can activate the yeast. So let's get that stirred up. This is almost like a starter. From here, we're gonna add a 1/4 cup kosher salt, 1/8 of a cup ground black pepper, fresh, 1/8 of a cup extra virgin olive oil, 1/4 cup roasted garlic, and a 1/4 cup fresh rosemary. So you can use dried rosemary if you want to, but I wouldn't recommend it. Anything fresh you can use is just going to be a better product in the end. So let's get this stirred up. I didn't really chop the rosemary too much. You don't have to. Basically, it's going to be for a better bite if you just give it a little quick chop. So from here, we're going to add a full cup of warm water. The reason we don't add all the water at the same time is because we don't want the flour to clump. You're going to be better off doing the starter than adding your second round of water separately. Okay, now we need to add the dry yeast. So for a single batch, which is what we're doing right now, we're going to do 4 tablespoons of dry active yeast. And this is the instant again. All right. Now, if you have a KitchenAid food mixer at your house, you can use that. But today we're going to do it by hand. We're going to go old school. Get all that incorporated. And like I said, the warm water is going to help activate the yeast. So from here, I have a full quart of all-purpose flour. We're not going to add it all at once. When you're making dough, there's a lot of factors that go into the consistency of the dough, humidity being one of them. It's pretty humid today, so we're going to start with about 3/4 of this. We probably will need to add more to it. So let's just start small circles here, start incorporating the flour. I'm going to try to keep it all in the bowl, but eventually this is going to go on the table. So we can do a lot with this dough. We can make rolls, we can make a loaf, we can make a flat pan of focaccia, we can put toppings on it. So we're going to make a loaf. We're also going to make some pizza shells with it. This dough can go right on the grill. We can make the shells, we can top it, and we can make a pizza. So you see, this is still looking a little tacky, huh? So we're gonna go a little more flour. So there's no preservatives in this dough that go into this bread, which is why when we make the bread, we make it every day, we make it for service, we make it right before service. So when you come in, you get fresh hot bread, and it's never good the next day. We don't save it for the next day because we want to give you fresh goodies every time you come in. And we don't deal in preservatives here. All right, we're gonna just go to the table with this. Do a little kneading. Now I know you guys can't smell this, but the oils in that rosemary are already breaking up, and you can just smell it in the air. Imagine when they start baking. Now, if you see flour on the outside of this loaf, you're not done yet. You need to get it all incorporated in there. Sometimes I think that it's all ready to go and all incorporated, and then you knead it for another minute and you realize you need to add a little more flour because it's still a bit tacky. All right, looks wise, this is what we're kind of looking for. See what I mean? If I pulled off and it stuck to my hand, we would have to add more flour. Seeing how it's still tacky but not sticking to me, this is exactly what we're looking for here. Now this is the first part of the procedure. What we're gonna need to do is let this proof in the bowl. So we're gonna put it in the bowl and we're gonna cover it in plastic wrap. What this is going to do is going to trap the gas in there. It's going to build a little makeshift sauna. To allow the yeast to activate. I always like to make a little belt and tie around the bowl. Make it nice and tight. We're gonna give it about 30 minutes in this bowl before we break it out and play with it further. Nice tight belt around it. Now you can keep it in a nice warm spot. I'm gonna put it over here next to the grill. While that's proofing, we're gonna get our convection oven roasting to 350 degrees. All right? All right, look at that, dude. We've let about 35, 40 minutes go by. The dough hasn't grown significantly, but maybe about 15, 20% larger. Now what this is gonna do is it's gonna give the bread the airiness that we're looking for. It's going to give it the body that you desire when you're eating bread, the texture. So this is essentially one loaf of bread. We're gonna take a pinch out to make a pizza. Okay, it's about 3-4 ounces. We'll just take out to make a pizza. In the meantime, we're going to roll this into a loaf and do a quick 5-minute proof in the convection oven when the door is open, so it's got that hot heat on it before it starts baking. So you want a good amount of flour. You don't want it to stick to your table. Oh yeah, this is gonna be tasty. I can smell the roasted garlic. I can smell the rosemary. You can see the nice fresh cracked black pepper in there. That'll be a nice loaf. Okay, I'm gonna get a little sheet tray. I'm gonna spray it with some non-stick pan spray. Put our little baby doll on here. I like to give it a little finger press to even everything out, so you don't have one side that's real large and one side that's real small. You can reform it once you get it on the pan. We're going to top the bread with some olive oil. Rub it in there nice. Look at this. If you want to put some actual fingerprints in there, you can do that. Top it with some kosher salt, a little bit of black pepper. Look at that. That's going to be so tasty. So, our convection oven is going to be at 350 degrees. We're going to open the doors and we're going to let it proof right on the rack in there. We're going to give it just a couple minutes. While that's proofing, we're going to do our flatbread pizza. So, like I said, this is about 3-4 ounces. We're going to roll it into a ball. I like to press it against the table pretty good. Use your palm, use your fingers to keep it in, cylinder form. Yeah. Okay, now once you got this, we're going to want to add some flour to the table. While you're making it into the ball, you want to keep it semi-dry so you can actually have some friction while you're rolling it into the table. But once you have the ball, now you want the flour on here so it's not going to stick to anything. Now we want this flat, and we're going to make kind of like the same shape as the loaf. We're going to make it a lot flatter. What's fun about this crust, what's fun about this dough, is that you can throw it right on the grill. Now you can bake this in the oven just like you're doing the loaf, or you can watch how fast this cooks on a grill. It's really fun. Now you don't have to have it look perfect, although I like to have it look perfect. What's more important is that it's even. You don't have one thick side, one thin side. You want everything to be even. If it's not perfectly spherical, it's not a big deal. Look at that, nice. There's our flatbread dough. We're gonna do the same thing we did to the loaf. A little bit of olive oil, rub it on top. Salt, pepper. Look at that. All right, let's go to the grill. Oil side down. Just lay it right on the grill like that. You're gonna watch it start to cook right before your eyes. It doesn't take very long. Don't walk away from it. You can see it start to caramelize and rise right along the edge here. See the bubbles coming up? Obviously, there's not gonna be as much bread on the inside of this as when you do a loaf. It's going to be more like a crust. It's okay if you get a little bit of char on there. It adds to the flavor, actually. It's going to be like, you know, a little crispy bitter. We'll give it one more flip and we'll be done. Look at that. So if you want, you can make these ahead of time, cool them down, top them. You could have like, you know, you could have the kids top them. You could have your friends over to top their own pizzas. These are pretty much individual pizzas. I mean, I serve these as an appetizer at the restaurant, so these can be like single serving pizzas. You could have everybody make their own shells and bake their own pizzas. At this point, we're gonna start baking this bread, and when it's almost done, we're gonna shoot this pizza in so we can have it all at the same time. All right, so after about 5 or 10 minutes of oven proofing this loaf, we're gonna start baking it. If you don't have a swing door oven like this in your house, which most people don't, just proof it in a warm spot like on the stovetop or something. So let's give this about 15 minutes at 350. In the meantime, I'm gonna build a pizza. I don't know. Banana peppers, obviously. Do whatever you want. These flatbread, thin crust pizzas, obviously they work out better, like the less toppings you put on them. You don't want to load them up too hard or else they're just gonna be really flimsy. All right, we'll rotate this in about 15 minutes. All right, let's rotate this bread. Ooh, look at it, it's coming right along here. Give it another 15 minutes. All right, I popped that flatbread pizza in right on the rack about 5 minutes ago. Our loaf is done. Look at that. And our flatbread pizza right there. Cheesy, gooey, melty goodness. I'm gonna give it a couple slices here. Put it right on this plate. Let's dress it up with a little balsamic vinegar. Look at this loaf. This smells fantastic. Look at that. You see the sponginess there? Oh, it's so soft. So keep it in mind next time you have people over your house for dinner. You want to make it really special for them. You know, you want to show them you care. You want to break bread with them. I recommend making your own.